Okay, good morning. My name is Carlos Alberto Lovera Lustrillo, and I'm going to talk about the strange food. This is my presentation for Advanced 5, and I'm going to start. First, the introduction. All of us, at the same point in our lives, we have eaten very delicious food, very delicious dishes that left us wanting more, but we have another part. We have eaten very bad dishes, very bad food that left us with a bad taste of mouth. In this time, I'm going to talk about this food that it's so unusual to find in a restaurant. I'm talking about the strange food, and to be more specifically, the grasshoppers. Okay, first of all, I want to say that the insects are the largest group or terrestrial, sorry, terrestrial animals in the planet, and we found in all the ecosystems, both continental and freshwater. And likewise, uh, they are dominant uh, in the biomass, since we find them in some abundance in certain areas. In this time, I'm going to talk about the grasshoppers, and I have to say that is one of the edible insects in Mexico. Uh, they are arthropods, and their name becomes comes the Nahuatl, and it means the insect that bounces like a rubber. Uh, 13,000 species had been described in worldwide, which 920 are described in Mexico. It's very interesting because this insect, a food that it discovered in Mexico, or it's most common to eat in Mexico. Okay, I continue. Okay, uh, before that I talk about the dishes, I have to talk about the morphology of the grasshopper. Why? Because it's very interesting. I don't know, for example, that the grasshopper has wings that are um, this this. So it becomes that if I explain you better how the the grasshoppers are made it, um, you can understand why it's very tasty or very croquant the when you eat in some. Uh, First of all, I have to say that are in three different sizes. The large size that are like 12 centimeters, like this, 12 or 11, I don't know. Um, the medium, that there are 7 or 6, and the small, like 2 or 3 centimeters. One of the interesting things for the grasshoppers are that their head forms a right angle. If you like, you can see in that part, in that part, the head is completely wrecked about the body, and it's very interesting because their mouth are directing in downwards. Uh, Another thing that I could say is that they had an ocello, did this, and composed eye. These two parts of the grasshopper, it's like a one. It's their eyes, and the function of the ocello is that they perceiving light, and it's more complex to 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 see the shapes and the shadows, and the Uccello help in that things. Um, Another thing that I could mention is the mouth. The mouth is ubicated in this, and it's different that some insects, because in this case the grasshoppers, they have a chewing type of mouth, and it's very good, or very useful for them, because uh, their mouth is very strong, and so it's useful to eat grounding food, leaves and stems. The third another thing that I could say, or I'm going to say, it's their legs. Their legs are three pairs, six legs, obviously, and the most interesting legs, it's this, like the triangle legs, because the only function of these legs, it's only to jump. uh, in a studio, it comproved that the grasshoppers can jump like 23 times their size. It's very impressive. uh, and the last part that I'm going to explain you to is the wings. I Like I mentioned at the beginning, I don't know that I before that I um, do my investigation, I don't know that the grasshoppers have a one pair of wings, and it's can it's uh, very useful, because um, because uh, first, it helps when they when they jump, uh, they uh, later very fast, and the second part of wings is beginning for the aforementioned, and it's a membranous, delicate. What it means, the grasshopper has two pairs of wings. The first is help us when they jump, and the second, it don't have a really useful thing. So it's mentioned that it's very delicate pair of wings, like the wings of the libellula, I think. And all these parts that I mentioned, it's very important, because it beginning it begins tasty food, like when you um, bite. Sounds this um, very delicious sensation. And it's another thing that I'm going to mention, it's the form that you can um, differences the grasshopper and the other insects. It's because they produce a very peculiar sounds, like creak 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 creak, and if you listen that sound, it's obviously that a grasshopper is really near of you. I'm going to continue. The next part is where they live. It's very interesting, because the grasshopper generally it's distributed in warms areas, like grasslands and parklands, and cultivated zones, like the photo that I put there. There. Sometimes the grasshoppers is considered a plague, because um, they feed their diet. It's main it's principal for leaves and stems of fruits, and in some places they can produce uh, very uh, damaged crops. And for example, in that photo, I, we can see a very damaged fruit. It's a lettuce, I think. And for the diet of the grasshoppers, uh, it finish like this. And for this is considered a grasshopper a plague in some areas. mm, the thing that I the thing for I choose the grasshopper is because it's a national product in Mexico. We are Mexicans and it's a national. And the most of the bands of the grasshoppers are in Mexico. For this I put this flag. And it's more common that we uh, find chapulines in Oaxaca. This is the flag of Oaxaca. And I think that it's very cool that we have very strange gastronomy, or very varied gastronomy. And I could choose some or one dish that is very strange, but it's national. It produced in Mexico. Okay, the next, I do my homework and I investigate some dishes that are prepared with with grasshoppers. Uh, the most of the dishes are tacos because it's a Mexican product, and all of these are in tacos. So it has a variant. We have tlayuda with grasshoppers like this, and quesadilla with grasshopper like this. Then I'm going to talk about the another strange dishes like uh, croquettes, different types of tacos, and guacamole, like this. But the most common presentation to sell grasshoppers is like this: that only the grasshoppers with a lemon or a chili, I don't know. And the most of the the presentation is like this in Oaxaca. If you going to Oaxaca, you can say see, sorry, that the sellers of grasshopper only put it in a bag with nothing more. It's only a bag, and if you want to boil a little bit of or a little of chapulines, we only put a spoon and serve in another bag, and that's all. And the next topic, and the most interesting for me, I think, is implementation of grasshopper farms. Why is it's too interesting? Because uh, it's a viable alternative that would be the grasshoppers farms, where the condition remained regulated and their use easy. Why? If you want to put it a restaurant, and if you want to sell grasshoppers, you have to have permission, and it doesn't give us the permission if you collect your grasshoppers in farms or in parks or something like that. It's very common to sell grasshoppers, so it's too common uh, to find it in a farms or in a parks or in the floor. And this is a regulation to sell more organics, benefits, and healthies grasshoppers without infections, without I don't know, uh, dirty. For that of for those uh, reasons, it's better that you um, buy your grasshoppers in a farm, or in a farm. And it's not only for this; it's because you also for distribution in gourmet restaurants, in traditional dishes, or even in or even if you want export it in another countries. Um, For this, um, the reason for I choose in conclusion, the reason for I choose the grasshoppers for my explanation, it's because it's a national product and it's very common to buy uh, grasshoppers in Mexico. I think that it's better to have a traditional dish that an stranger. I find it very cool or very strange dishes, so I decided to 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 present the chapulines or the grasshoppers because it's a Mexican product. And that's all for me. Thanks for your attention and have a nice day. See you.